You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Tuesday, January 13th. I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know. Let's get to our top story today. We have learned that Joe Thompson, the U.S. attorney who uncovered massive fraud in Minnesota, has resigned from office. Thompson is one of at least 6 career prosecutors in the Minneapolis U.S. Attorney's Office to resign. This is after the office was tasked with investigating the shooting of Renee Good. She was the woman who an ICE agent shot and killed last week in South Minneapolis. Thompson was appointed acting U.S. Attorney of Minnesota by President Trump in May of 2025. He served in that role for 6 months. Governor Tim Walz called Thompson's resignation a huge loss for our state. Number 2 today, the federal crackdown in Minnesota is growing with more officers on the way. Both the New York Times and CNN are reporting the Trump administration is sending around 1,000 more federal officers to Minnesota. CNN spoke to U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar on this decision yesterday.
They literally are sending over 3,000 ICE agents into one state. There are like 600 sworn-in officers in Minneapolis and 550 or so in St. Paul. So the ICE agents are literally overwhelming our own police force. This is not LA, this is not Chicago. And Minnesota is right now the center of America's heartbreak.
Number 3, new today, the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced that they are ending temporary protected status for Somalia. That means Somali nationals with TPS are now required to leave the United States by March 17th. Temporary protected status is granted to foreign countries who meet requirements for things like ongoing wars and natural disasters that prevent citizens from returning home safely. As of March of last year, 705 Somali nationals were covered by TPS in the entire country. That's according to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services data. A 2023 fact sheet from the Immigrant Law Center said about 430 Somalis were in Minnesota under TPS protection. According to the Council on American Islamic Relations, this change will cause families to be separated in some cases. And number 4 today, police arrested Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison yesterday. Jail records show he was arrested on suspicion of trespassing at about 4 in the morning in Tampa, Florida. Addison has not yet been charged. Now, this marks the 3rd time in 4 seasons that the 23-year-old wide receiver has found himself in legal trouble. Head coach Kevin O'Connell spoke on his arrest today.
I just learned about that very, very recently, so I don't want to speculate on that in any way, shape, or form. I do think we've got to, get as many facts and find out exactly what happened. Speculating on at this point would be incredibly premature for me.
We also heard from Addison's agent today. He posted on X, quote, "On Jordan's behalf, his legal team has already initiated the investigation, identified witnesses, and we are reviewing the viability of a claim for false arrest. He looks forward to the legal process, and upon full investigation, we are confident Mr. Addison will be exonerated." Those are your 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Get ready for a cold one as we head into tonight. Temps dropping down to 17, your low in the Twin Cities. It will be windy. Tomorrow morning, your feels like temps around 0. A cold day tomorrow, despite the sun, with a high of 22.
And now, here's more to know.
As new agents come in, local leaders are trying to stop ICE activity altogether. Minnesota's Attorney General and the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul filed a federal lawsuit yesterday to try to get ICE activity halted throughout the state. Here's what Mayor Herr of St. Paul said on CNN just this morning.
The point of this lawsuit was never to stop federal agents from doing their legal actions or the work within their legal limits. It is the fact that they are not complying with our U.S. Constitution and states' rights and also their own federal policies. I mean, this is to hold them accountable. They are terrorizing our neighborhoods and our communities, and that they have to be held accountable.
In the complaint, the group lays out dozens of examples of what they say are the physical and financial toll of immigration enforcement on the state. One of the examples they point to in the lawsuit is an incident last week at the Target in Richfield. The suit claims agents forced a man into a DHS vehicle after saying he was a citizen. Then on social media yesterday, DHS said the man was arrested for assaulting federal law enforcement officers. Attorney General Keith Ellison also says the increase in federal law enforcement in Minnesota is negatively impacting schools, businesses, and local police departments. And this story continues as President Trump is sharing his thoughts on Minnesota. In a new statement today, he said in part that, quote, Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that anarchists and professional agitators are causing because it gets the spotlight off the $19 billion that was stolen by really bad and deranged people. Fear not, great people of Minnesota, the day of reckoning and retribution is coming, end quote. Faith leaders, community members, and labor groups came together earlier today to announce their plan for a day of action against ICE.
Minnesota will not continue to be a testing ground for the kind of fear and violence that is expected for the rest of this country.
Leaders say the plan is to have a day of no work, no school, and no shopping, along with a massive peaceful march through downtown Minneapolis. It's planned for January 23rd and will also serve as a statewide day of mourning following the death of Renee Good. And earlier today, students at Park Center High School walked out of classes to show their anger over immigration enforcement in the Twin Cities. This is one of several student-organized walkouts we've seen lately across the metro area. Let's get to sports headlines. The two big questions for the Vikings offseason: quarterback and defensive coordinator. Will J.J. McCarthy be the 26th starter, and will Brian Flores return? We heard from head coach Kevin O'Connell today in his season-ending press conference. On Flores first, O'Connell said the Vikings have had great dialogue with him on a potential new contract, saying the team has been, quote, very, very aggressive about getting a deal done. But O'Connell said Flores is interviewing for at least one head coaching job, and I saw on X today the Baltimore Ravens tweeted that they had completed an interview with Flores, so we'll see if he gets that job, kind of in wait-and-see mode on Flores' future. Now back to J.J. McCarthy.
I absolutely want a competitive situation. What that looks like with the reps, I think it's all predicated on, obviously J.J. is going to be a major emphasis for our staff and our team and me personally, and we'll figure out what that looks like as we navigate, the early part of this offseason when it comes to managing the roster. But I think ultimately we've got to decide how to not only continue JJ's progression, allow him to continue to ascend as a young player, 22 years old with 10 starts. But at the same time, like I said, I think the competition in that room will only enhance our entire team.
The Vikings QB room, sure to be interesting this offseason. It always is, right? Minnesota Vikings football, you never really know what you have. Basketball news, the Wolves back in action tonight. They're in a border battle with the Milwaukee Bucks. They are in Milwaukee. Rudy Gobert will not play due to a one-game suspension. And Anthony Edwards also won't play tonight for what the team is calling right foot injury maintenance. Tip-off at 7.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
You've got a chance to get out and do some free fishing this weekend. This weekend is Take a Kid Fishing Weekend across the state. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, residents can fish for free if they take a kid 15 or younger with them. That means no need to buy a fishing license, but all other regulations still in place. The DNR is encouraging people to give out and give ice fishing a try, but they're also reminding you to be cautious while on the lake. And certainly with that warm weather, definitely make sure the ice is thick enough for you. You can check out the DNR's ice fishing safety recommendations on their website. I'm Johnny Connor. This has been 4 Things to Know. We're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Thanks for listening today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.